Hey everybody, it's Katie back for another episode of Shooting the Shit. And of course, I have my co-host with me, Kelly, and we have a special guest, Serena Bishop, who I love to have as a guest because she was on a couple of times with Girl on Fire, if I remember correctly.
I
Yeah.
remember one time. It could have been more, but I blacked out because of all the heat.
Does your
Yeah,
butt remember more than one time? Because
I think you were on there twice, Serena.
Okay, then
I think,
it was it was just one of
yeah.
those hot sauce blackouts that I'm prone to
It
occasionally.
could that could
It's a
be it. That
problem.
could be it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that could be it. But as I said before, welcome to Shooting the Shit. It's a
Thank you.
dirty, messy job. Somebody has to do it. Why not us?
Yeah.
why not?
Yes, why not? So, Kelly, what have you been up to lately?
Well, first I want to know what shirt you're wearing today. Can we see it or no?
Yeah, we can
Did
see.
you wear a
Oh,
fun
and
shirt?
I can start off with the conversation about the Raymond Burr too.
I think
So,
you could.
okay, so this is Miles Morales.
Oh, that
And
is sick.
Oh, nice.
Where did you get
hold on.
that?
Hold on. Now let's turn to the side for the silhouette.
Oh.
Raymond Burr.
No, I just want to know where you got that shirt. I want it.
I got it from IGN.com. It's a video game nerd haven, nerd and geek haven. It talks about movies, gaming, all kinds of stuff. So, and they have a store where you can get T-shirts. I think it has socks, all kinds of paraphernalia you can get from there. But in case people don't know, and I'm sure everybody who follows me by now, I had a double mastectomy. I'm recovering nicely. In fact, I had my first session of PT today. It was hard. It was painful. My range of motion in my arms are it's not gone, but it's gonna take some work to get it back. But I had no idea actually that my stomach was so big. Now I have lost like 130 pounds, maybe a little bit more than that. So I can't even imagine how it looked 130 pounds ago. So after I had the surgery and I was like, lucid and paying attention and everything, I was like, oh my God. I was telling my wife, I was like, I look like Raymond Burr, or Alfred Hitchcock when they do the silhouette thing when he walks into and you see like the thing and you see his belly. And I was like, and I also think I really, really do look like a dude with a beer gut. So that's just me. That's just my opinion. so, so yeah. So that's what I've been up to.
I want the link to that shirt. So, maybe later.
I will give it to you. They have all kinds of good stuff.
And I'm going to be honest, I don't know how big my belly is because my boobs block it. So I'm just going to pretend like it's smaller. But yeah, I got my,
I like that. Mine.
there's a cat sitting on a laptop and it just says mine.
Yeah.
So,
I get that
as
a
cats
lot.
do.
Mhm.
I brought myself a drink down since you're always harping me for a drink. This was one of my new, I don't know, I discovered some sort of rum cream. And so I add that.
Rum
and,
chata?
no, it's rum cream, it's spiced rum cream, spiced coconut
Ooh.
rum cream. And so I add that with some coconut rum, a small can of pineapple juice, some cranberry juice, and then ice, and I put it in the shaker and I shake it up because otherwise the rum cream doesn't like to mix real well with the other stuff because I shake it up and it is so creamy and fruity and delicious.
That sounds like it's very calorie heavy, but it sounds delicious.
I'm certain it is, but it is delicious. And I got my wife to agree to bring me the rest of it when I run out because it's just in the shaker in the freezer right now to stay cold. And because she's like, I want something sweet. I'm like, please don't ask for it. Please don't ask for it. So we'll see if it's still there.
You're supposed to share, Kelly. You're supposed to share.
I share a lot.
Okay.
But she will literally drink like almost anything. And I am so fussy. So sometimes you just got to keep something for yourself.
Everybody, I keep trying to, as Kelly was saying, I keep talking about her little drink mixes and her food and stuff. I've been trying to convince her to talk about a recipe idea like she just did and making it a staple on the show. So I'm still trying. We'll see how it goes, because when she's on Facebook, she's always talking about something she's made or something they're drinking, or
I
something
just
other.
make stuff up.
Well,
I
that
just
doesn't
make stuff up.
matter.
That's
the good part of it.
Like tonight, I was apparently in charge both nights, because we don't have the boys on. We don't have our kids on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. So apparently, I was in charge of dinner both nights, which is kind of bullshit. But so last night, like I pulled out, we had a couple of those, they're like bread, like stone something. It's just a 2-pack, right? Of, small pizza size. So I pulled those out. I mixed up, we had some like basil pesto, and I spread that over it. And then I sliced up, we made some, what is it with the mozzarella and the fresh basil and the
margarita.
No, fresh basil, tomato. Oh my God, your cat, Katie, your cat
is
peeking over your shoulder right now. He's so hilarious. Caprese salad, right?
Yes.
So I sliced up tomatoes and I put those on top of the pesto. Sliced up tomatoes, sliced up fresh mozzarella, and then I had some, like a little bit of the fresh basil left, and then I had some dried basil I sprinkled on it, and then I kind of shook the balsamic all over it and threw that in the oven, and that's what we had last night, and that was really good. It was like eating a caprese salad pizza, but it was like on naan,
Oh, that sounds delicious.
And then tonight I actually made a staple that I've been making for years. I used to eat it all the time when I lived by myself. And it's just, I would take sourdough bread, like slices of sourdough bread. I'd spray it with some Pam and season it and put sesame seeds, because I like sesame seeds a lot, and spray it again. And then I'd let it toast for like a minute under the broiler. And then I would add fresh sliced mushrooms, sliced tomatoes, and anything else. Like tonight I used sliced mushrooms, sliced tomato. We had some mild pepper rings and artichokes. You can like open the jar of like artichokes, and I sliced those up. And then we had a couple different kinds of cheese that I sprinkled on top. So it was almost like a little open faced sandwich or pizza or something.
Like flatbread.
But it was the slices of sourdough, like the big slices of sourdough. So it was really tasty.
So Serena, what have you been up to?
I've been doing a lot of editing. I'm trying to get off a draft of one of my manuscripts to the beta readers and sensitivity readers by July. So I'm really kind of pedal to the metal. But more recently, I just came back. It was my first trip since the whole COVID thing happened. I told my wife that I wouldn't go with her unless I had both vaccinations, my 2-week cleared, and I had an N95. So I had that done. So I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I never thought I would go there. For the Ironman competition, which was on Sunday.
Okay.
And I cheered on my wife as she did her like her 8th, 9th Ironman.
So my wife is insane.
Yeah, we're insane in our own little ways. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
I really am. I'm so proud of her.
I would be.
And is proud too. See, that's his proud face, right?
I feel
she's
not walking around in the background. Is she like sleeping for a week after this, or
Well, she called it. It was insane. Our Sunday started at 3:00 in the morning. We got home from the race around midnight. Went to sleep around 1. Got up for our flight at like 4. And we're running around Tulsa, O'Hare, and then Baltimore Airport. She called it her active recovery. So
instead of going for a nice run, you were running around airports.
Exactly.
Whatever works.
Yeah, I'm wondering why the hell O'Hare doesn't have more restaurants when it's supposed to be so big. But anyway,
that's surprising.
They have to get on that. I'm just saying, there's a lack of options.
Yes.
But believe it or not, she did not sleep. I mean, we did crash when we got home, but then last night, she's also a volunteer firefighter. So she had a fire shift last night.
Oh my gosh.
So now she's sleeping.
I bet. My God.
Yeah, we're busy. We're busy people. But I'd have to say those are some key things I've been up to recently.
Okay. Well, we've all been kind of busy, it sounds like.
I wish I had been busier with writing. Like
me too.
I've been busy.
Yeah.
I've been, I feel like all of us are in some sort of edit hell at any given time. And I have been because now my book I think is moving up to August instead of September 1st. It's moving up to August 1st. Yeah. She did some shuffling because somebody else is running behind. So, and she's like, yeah, because I just sent it off and I have a feeling it's going to the second editor after this. Like my editor's like, okay, Axted's creds, which is what she says to me, like for in the book, acknowledgements, dedications, creds,
right.
So, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know. Do you guys hate Axted's creds? Like, I hate Axted's creds.
No.
Like, I like giving credit to people, but I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, who do I dedicate this one to? This one got dedicated to my cats because I don't know. I'm like, they helped me write it just as much as I did.
Yes,
so
Clark is always an integral part of every creative process.
Shedding, sneezing on me from above my desk here. I have a window and a cat bed up there, and I struggle.
I haven't written. I don't feel like I've written enough novels yet where that beginning dedication is challenging enough. Right now, like all of my novels have carried a certain theme with them.
I don't have that many people I like.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
I just don't like. This was number 13, and I'm just like, fuck if I have anybody I want to dedicate this to. I've already mentioned everybody that I could mention in previous books.
You know what you could do?
Like,
you know what you could do, Kelly? I bid.
What?
Let's put I bid.
Put what?
That's like a Latin terminology from whatever you had on there before. So it's like repeating, like, oh, I bid. Look, I'm serious.
I think somebody's going to catch on to that. I'd rather just name fictional things.
Use the same people, but write it in like Wingdings font.
I don't know that my publisher would go for that. I don't know.
What's the worst that could happen? They say no.
I don't think it'll print, but yeah.
But Kelly, can we talk?
Have you gone off the deep end? Yeah. So I looked at my calendar because I always do my author spotlight on the first, and I do my newsletter, which of course I haven't started yet because why would I start that early? The last time I was up until like 1 o'clock in the morning the night before working on it, but whatever. So I'm like looking at my calendar, and then I look at June 1st and I'm like, oh no, there's a note on June 1st that says, do you have book 3 of the Sire series done yet? Oh, bitch, no, I don't. Like, I clearly haven't been working on it. Like I'm working on it. I worked on it tonight on writer's night, but I'm like 21,000 words into it. Like, it's clearly not done. It's not even.
That sounds about like mine.
Bit.
That sounds about mine. I haven't written on the follow-up to Big Girl Pill for months. And I'm hoping after the whole mastectomy recovery that I can look at it with fresh eyes and it'll just take off.
Taking a break.
Sometimes,
yes.
Yeah, sometimes that helps. Like if you're away from it too long, come back, reread it from the beginning, get yourself back in the mood. Let's get it on.
Ooh, this is
Barry White. Get yourself in the mood again, light some candles, pour yourself a drink, and do some writing. Because write drunk, edit sober.
There you go. Good idea. Oh, okay. So on to our subject matter for today. So Kelly, you want to tell us what we're discussing today?
Oh boy, do I. Sorry, I'm sweating on my desk and I don't want to do that. I mean, I'm not sweating on my desk.
Your drink is sweating on the desk?
My drink is doing a little bit of sweating. It's clearly nervous. Okay, today is in the culture, racism, cancel culture, accountability, behavior, morality, etc. category. That's a little bit long. I know. Sorry.
That's one hell of a Jeopardy category, I gotta say.
Oh man. So I don't want to talk about Jeopardy. I'm still real sad about Alex, but
Oh yeah.
that is a regular viewing for our family. And I don't know, we've been going through, but I don't watch them as regularly as Carrie does. So anyway, so today's topic, we want to discuss social media accountability. So there are a couple of different things in here, like, does the age of the tweet matter more than the age of the person tweeting? How old is too old when it comes to racist or homophobic tweets? And then we also have in there the cancel culture, about kind of like things recently, such as a Miami Heat player using a racial slur. Other examples of cancel culture, like American Idol recently. I don't watch any of these shows, but I like to read the news about stuff like that happens, where this young idol, Caleb Kennedy, he dropped out because a racist like video, it looked like kind of like a Snapchat video, popped up, or somebody noticed it on Twitter, and he deleted it, but not before obviously everybody got the receipts. So look at me using young people's terminology. So that's some of the stuff. So we can start with Caleb if you want. Are either one of you familiar with the Caleb thing?
Well, I am now, since we talked about it.
I didn't look into it. So I want to like verify that I know the right thing. Was he like 12? I heard that he was young, like he was 12, and it was a Klan related thing. Is that correct?
I don't know.
It was Klan related. I don't know what the age was.
Related.
It was Klan related.
So right now I'm going to share my screen so that you can see the video, and it's very short. And I don't know what the context is, Serena, as far as this, right? But it shows him like sitting next to somebody in a Klan hood, and the quote on it just says, "Oh my," right? There's no exclamation points. There's no capitalization. It just says, "Oh my." And it shows him, and then the camera pans over. It shows the person in the Klan hood, and then back to him where he's sitting there, sitting next to the person.
Okay, so when you say context, I mean, I hate that word in regards to when people do things like this.
Some things don't need context.
No, they don't. It's like, oh, you don't know the context of it. Maybe it was just a joke, or it was just a little stupid. It doesn't matter what the context is. Right. We know what KKK stands for. We know who, historically. We know what
the hood is, right?
Everybody knows what that is. It's not an instance of, oh, I didn't know it was going to bother anybody, or, oh, I didn't think it would be a big deal. Come on. So, like I said the other day, you don't have to tweet everything. You don't have to post everything. You do not.
Yeah. When was this? Like, I don't know. How old is this contestant or former contestant?
He's still pretty young. He's like the youngest one to go on to finals or something. So he's not that old. Was this like a few years ago that the video was taken? Like maybe 4 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I read. So it's interesting. So once this came out, apparently he dropped out of the contest, and it like made a bunch of waves because he's like the second person recently that has dropped out for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So he dropped out of the contest, and all this came to light. He apologized for his behavior. There's a couple little write-ups about it, like on the sites that follow those things, like entertainment.
But look at it right here. Even this post says Caleb Kennedy is allegedly blocking anyone who mentions the video of him.
Yeah.
I mean, you posted it. If you post something, people are going to respond to it. I mean, that's just the way it works.
So this was a comment on here where the person says, 12 years old, really, when I was 12, I used to dress up as Casper the Ghost with a sheep pillowcase and holes for Halloween. I wonder what the context with this is, and how can a 12-year-old be held to the same standards as adults? I will hazard that even as a child, I knew what the KKK was.
Yeah.
And right now,
yes,
communication is everywhere. You're on the internet, you're on Twitter. He's had an account since he was 12 years old.
Yeah.
He is not an idiot to the way the world works.
No, he is
and
not.
You make your choices whether you're going to repost something that you know is going to be taken as racist. There's a reason he wrote, "Oh my." So,
Right.
So that, I guess that's the question, is does the age of the tweet matter as much as the age of the person, or are they equally bad depending on what item gets posted on the internet, if that makes sense?
No,
I
okay.
think
Go ahead, Serena. Go ahead, Serena.
I was going to say, in this case, I agree with what you said. Like, I used to be a science teacher for 8th graders, which was like 13, 14. And in cases like this, and it was a very, I'll say this, and it was a very predominantly white area.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an area where, yeah, we had, we had hate crimes, like unfortunately, a lot of public schools do. And this is something that I would say in this country, yeah, a 12-year-old knows what that means.
They're savvy. Kids today, even if it was kids a few years ago, they're a lot more savvy and worldly than, let's say, I was at that age. You know what I'm saying? So this is the age of technology. It's not the age of ignorance. It is not. It is not. So pretending ignorance of, oh, I didn't think it was that serious, or anything like that, it's not going to fly anymore. I'm in a camp of, and I know I don't know, in my opinion, now this is just my opinion, once a racist, pretty much always a racist. No matter how far back it is. I mean, everybody has their preconceived notions, how they see people, and those preconceived notions may improve, throughout the years as you meet more people and interact and everything. But this whole thing, to me, it smells like white privilege. Like, oh, I mean, I'm gonna post this, and it's gonna show I'm interesting, and and just for him to try to block people who were commenting about it, that's privilege as well. I mean, it's just like, oh, just leave me alone, or whatever. And so it's just like, once a homophobe, is always a homophobe. There's always going to be these little inklings in the back of your head, even if you go like, oh, I have a gay friend, Charlie, he's not so bad. He's nothing like I thought, they would be. And that goes back to that whole, mentality of, there's the good Black people, and then there's the ghetto low rent Black people. And they'll say, oh, you're one of the good ones, you're educated, whatever. And, and then on a homophobic side, it's always, oh, you seem really normal. You're not, fruity or whatever.
You're not a fruit. Right.
Yeah. I mean, so that in itself is racist and homophobic. I mean, to tell somebody that.
There's a difference between racism and ignorance, because I can look at the people I grew up with. I can look at my family that I grew up with, and I've heard it all, right? I heard it all regularly. And I can see, like, my mom now, she doesn't have a problem with, any of my friends as far as gay people. And I've heard her, say faggot this and dyke that. And I'd kill that, I'd kill that dyke if she ever touched my daughter. Like, there was some kind of like criminal thing that happened years and years ago. I didn't even know about myself until much, much later. But it was just, it's interesting, because I think there's a difference between ignorance and intolerance. I think people are going to go whatever way that they are familiar with and they're raised, but it's on them to understand right and wrong, and to educate themselves and be held accountable for things that they did before they were educated. You can say, listen, I didn't know, but now I know that this is wrong, and I apologize, and move on from there. and when it's something like this, like I can tell you right now that my zip code is for a place called Howell, Michigan. Howell, Michigan, if you look it up, is famous for one thing. It's the KKK, and they're never going to live it down. Apparently, there was a Grand Master.
I did not know that.
Oh, wow.
How there it is. Considered the KKK capital of Michigan. Wow.
Yep. So, you know, that is something that when you establish yourself a certain way, I do think people can change. I really do. And I think that maybe this boy really isn't like that. Maybe this was some stupid friend doing something stupid as boys do. But you know what? That doesn't mean he shouldn't be held accountable.
I can agree with
chose to hang out with this friend, or maybe it's family or whatever. But he ultimately posted that on the internet for the whole world to see.
Yeah.
That's the thing. No sense to me.
Which I think is a shame. I mean, the whole thing.
It is
terrible
because
on so many.
Because it is a mistake, right? But
because now, and again, I don't. If this is, he's 12 here, maybe he's 16, 17 now.
I think it was like 16. Yeah, I think it's like 4 years old.
Like, I don't think I think in his head, maybe now he's like, oh shit, that was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. People think I'm a big racist. Well, yeah, because it is clearly racist. And also he doesn't have the emotional maturity, or maybe, I mean, I haven't heard this guy speak. Maybe he doesn't have the intelligence to deal with this correctly either.
I don't know.
He's a musician. He was on a national program. You know what? You kind of know, you have some advance notice when you're going to go on something like this.
Oh, right.
If you know you have dumb shit in your history and your timelines, start cleaning house.
And if you start taking ownership.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily think he might be evolved enough to have known that, which is sad.
Oh my God. But see, when I hear stuff like that, I just think it's a fucking excuse. Not against what you guys are saying. To me, it's all an excuse. There's no excuse for ignorance these days. There's just none. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. People, yes, it's upon them to educate themselves. Just like if it was concerning Black people, I'm not here to steer you in the right direction. I don't like that. Oh, let's talk to KD. She's the only Black person I know. So let's ask her. I mean, you know what I'm saying? The internet is a huge place. Google is a huge place.
Yeah.
There's millions of us out there. I mean, choose to educate yourself. I'm not here to help you solve your preconceived notions. I'm not here to show you the way, or anything like that. And it pisses me off, I think, in this day and age, and with everything that has happened. And I mean, and it's a laundry list of things that have happened. I mean, with everything that has happened, how things can still go on.
And let's consider what 4 years ago was. 4 years ago, we really started to see an explosion of the racism. Like, it's always been there, but it was the top got peeled off.
Safe.
All the shit floated to the top. Literally, all of the shit floated to the top. And Danka. And so there 4 years ago,
her drink.
I know. Look at that. 4 years ago, at the time that this video would have been made, everybody absolutely knew what was racist and what wasn't. They knew. A 12-year-old knew. Our kids knew. Everybody knew this. And the other question is, this kid's got a smartphone. He's on the internet. If he's 12, where the fuck were his parents?
Maybe his parents didn't care.
Maybe his parents were there when the video
was his dad in the hood.
It could be.
I was about to say that, Serena. You never know.
That's what I was thinking, because that looks like an adult in the background. But my point is, like, you know what? All of this, his parents should have said something, unless his parents are also the same way, you know?
Well, socialization comes from the home as well.
Absolutely. All of this starts at home.
Mm-hmm. So definitely. I mean, it's just like, what's her name? Gina Carano.
Oh,
yes.
With the comments she made about Republicans are like Holocaust survivors.
Here is the list.
The Jews or whatever. And it's just like, oh, there she is right there on the list.
All right, hold on. Let's blow it up. All right, so I have an article here, and it is talking about the 10 recent examples of cancel culture, and you can see who is the picture that they use.
Oh,
yep. None other than
Voldemort
she who shall
herself.
not be named. Right. J.K. Rowling.
She looks a lot like Voldemort right there.
Oh, okay. Stop it. Anyway, Mr. Bean actor Rowan Atkinson compared cancel culture to a medieval mob looking for someone to burn.
God.
How, and honestly, so this is my take on cancel culture. Like, and I think I even tweeted it, and I'm not ashamed to have it tweeted like 4 years from now. But I think if cancel culture means that all of the racists and homophobes and general pieces of shit of society get what's coming to them, then by all means cancel away.
Yes, I agree with it totally. I mean, I think it's, to me, it should be reserved for those kind of instances, not when something stupid or simple happens. And it's like sometimes people get canceled for the stupidest shit. I mean, whatever it is. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but
honestly, so how like cancel culture, a lot of the conservatives have been saying lately that cancel culture is this new thing and blah blah blah, and it's something that is just started recently by like liberals and millennials and all of that. Do you want to know who the queens of cancel culture are?
Do tell.
You want to know who the queens?
Do tell.
The million moms.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that bullshit. Oh, there's gays in this Hallmark movie. We need to boycott Hallmark.
Yes.
We need to boycott this. We need to. Those were the originals in cancel culture. They were.
Remember when Ellen was on her sitcom and she first came out? They were the ones who made the biggest stink. They were the ones who made the biggest stink
because that's what they do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the modern examples of cancel culture, which American seems to have embraced this new form of blacklisting. Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow, who just recently got kicked out of like the Republican convention, right? The GOP convention or something.
Mm-hmm. I have to say, I didn't know he was so fucking crazy. I had no idea.
What? Really?
I
mute every one of his damn commercials that comes on Pandora.
I mean, you see it in passing, but I was
you can see it in his eyes.
Nuts.
Anybody that wears a cross like over their shirt all the time with that mustache. There's
the porn stash.
The mustache comes into play.
He does have
with
the
porn stash.
Okay.
All right. So we have Chris Harrison, who honestly I have no fucking clue. Something about The Bachelor. J.K. Rowling, which everybody kind of knows by now. Adam Rubenstein, who again, New York Times editor. I don't know.
Tom Cotton. Oh, I just love that. Oh, that's an ass right there.
Gina Carano, the Mandalorian actress, was fired by Disney.
Who
she said that being a Republican was similar to being Jewish during Nazi Germany.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't remember any Republican, being herded by the millions. No,
under trains and
just, being gassed and assassinated. I don't remember any of that happening. But
that's the newest thing now, Kim. That's the newest thing is they're saying that being forced to wear masks. It was like the crazy bitch, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh my God!
Wearing masks is akin to being persecuted for being Jewish, kind of thing.
Oh my God!
Tucker, this trio right here, honestly, is just
that's the worst threesome ever.
Oh my God!
It's like the three forces of evil: Tucker Carlson, like, Sean Hannity, and Laura Ingraham.
It's like a three-way anal without the lube.
Oh God, yeah, that's a great example. Welcome to the show, Serena. In case you didn't know, we just kind of
now
get down
I
and
have
dirty.
the human centipede in my head.
Oh
no.
my God. Oh,
yeah,
that's
I can see that.
too.
If there was, I haven't seen the movie, but I know what it's all about, and I've seen stills. But anyway, if there were 3 people that absolutely should be made into a human centipede, it should be them, but they'd have to sew them into a circle, so it was just a big human centipede circle jerk.
But see, they would have to add that Judge named Pyro, whatever her name is.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about the Supreme Court judge?
No.
She's on Coney Barrett. We can throw her in there too.
No, she's on Fox News too.
I don't watch Fox, so I don't watch any of that. I don't watch any news.
But you hear those names. I can't remember her name.
I would like to offer up Josh Hawley, Mr.
Oh Jesus,
giving the fist up, to you guys that are breaking in and being general insurrectionists. That guy, I would absolutely.
And then after everything that happened that night, for him to stand his stupid ass up and still object.
Yeah.
Like, but they're so important, and I mean, it's just
none of us are surprised that all the Republicans suddenly are not on their high horse and they're just trying to sweep it under the rug and make it go away now. I'm not surprised about that. Goya Foods was a victim of cancel culture,
and I still bypass their canned beans. I am proud to say.
We just buy our local Meyer beans, so we don't get the fancy stuff.
Trump's leadership was a blessing for Hispanic Americans. Really? Because I recall him calling them rapists and murderers.
Which ones? Not the rapists and criminals, right?
Yeah.
All the good ones. The good ones.
The good ones, like they're the good Hispanics.
Right. The good Hispanics, not the bad ones.
Not MS-13 and and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you had the former presidents, Washington, Lincoln, Jefferson. The public schools are systematically taking their names off the schools because of ties to racism and dishonorable legacies. Honestly, all of our founding fathers were a bunch of white guys that had ties to racism. And all we can do is
every single one of them. Yep.
And this is kind of what I think. On my shelf over here, I have J.K. Rowling books, because I know a lot of people that those books helped them through some very trying times. They were something that when they were coming up from childhood, they meant something to them. And you know what?
It made it okay to be different.
I agree. Do not let the creators' shitty actions and words take away from the joy that you received reading those books. And I'm going to keep those books. I'm not going to throw them away. I'm not going to burn them, because you can't take away the pleasure I got from reading them. Am I going to buy anything else from J.K. Rowling? No. But, and I feel the same way about the creators. You can accept that the founders of our country created something that now we still have it better than a lot of other countries in the world. We do, even with our racism, because other places have more racism, which is scary.
Yeah, it really.
But you can also acknowledge that just because you did this one good thing, or this, 20 good things, or this really great thing, doesn't mean that you didn't do a lot of other shitty things too.
Yeah,
look at you know what a good example of that is? Gene Copeland's COVID boyfriend, the Mayor Cuomo, Governor Cuomo.
Oh,
remember? He was on it. He was fighting for the people of New York. He was fighting against Trump. He would hold daily press conferences. He had better information and better communication than our entire government at the time had. And he did all this great stuff. And then you find out he's just another shitty white dude groping ladies.
Yeah. People have many sides to their personalities and legacies.
It's not black or white.
They're not infallible.
No, they're not.
People.
No,
I mean, this is coming from somebody who lived, worked, still does, just 30 miles away from Gettysburg, where these statues are all over the place. Like you remember, and it does also bring me to the whole idea of if you take the statue down, people will forget. It's like, no.
That's a double-edged sword, I think.
That is dumb.
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, on the one hand, I get why people want to get rid of the statues. And on the other hand, it's just like, it doesn't erase anything. It doesn't erase anything.
But do you
Now,
want
it
a
may help
constant
people
reminder?
feel, well, it does make people feel better not to drive by and see it. Don't get me
Right.
wrong.
Because ultimately you put up a statue or a picture or erect a building when you do it to honor someone. When, it's great. It's great if everybody who benefited from that person or who believed in that person, wanted to honor that person, they put the statue up. But what if that statue was the KKK leader, right?
Yeah.
At the time, everybody thought that was a great person. And now we look around and are like, well, that was only great for like 100 white guys. He wasn't so great for everybody else. So why does this statue deserve to stay? Yeah. I am all about tearing statues down. I just fucking tear them all down. Put up a statue of a deer. Like, Bambi deserves to be honored for what he went through. He watched his mother die. You know what? Let's put up a statue.
Had to deal with that fire. Yeah.
Right. But you know what? If you want to take down a statue because later you realize that person wasn't so great, what if you erect a statue to, John Smith, not like the Disney and Pocahontas thing, but just randomly some John Smith dude. He's had this statue up for hundreds of years. He founded a town. He was a great guy. And then you read old journals and you discovered he was a serial rapist. You're going to take the fucking statue down. Yeah, you're not going to leave it up just because he was a great guy. And if you take it down, you're going to forget what a great guy was. Well, you know what? Maybe he wasn't that great of a guy.
Okay.
Maybe he just did a couple of good
argument,
things.
Though, Kelly, using that argument, what about the Lincoln Memorial?
Take it down.
Yeah.
However, he did start one of the biggest movements.
He did, but that doesn't make him any less of a racist. It doesn't make him any less of anything. He did what he was forced to do.
But maybe your actions speak louder than your words.
I don't know. It's like growing up, if you reading history about the Emancipation Proclamation, it was just like, oh, this great man, wanted to free all the slaves. But as I got older and read more history behind it,
not the ones in school, the actual history.
The actual history behind it. And you're like, oh, okay, so that wasn't really the case at all. He was just doing what he felt like he had to do. It wasn't just the case of, I'm gonna liberate, and this is wrong, and blah blah blah. It was, so
politicians.
I try to avoid any sort of history if I can help it, unless that history involves watching a movie that's, say, Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Abraham Lincoln, I was about to say Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
That was actually a pretty awesome movie, but that's as close to history as I actually want to get.
Okay, I may have to watch that tonight. It's my bedtime entertainment.
Dude, in the end was great.
There's a book?
Yeah. I like the book. I couldn't get into the movie. I don't know.
Try to watch the movie. It's on HBO Max, so I'm going to check it out. I'll check it out. It'll be my nighttime entertainment.
Yeah. So on the subject of history and learning about stuff, it's hard to blame people for their ignorance that are coming out of public schools. When did you know that every single school system can request their own books that include their own information and excludes their own information? So one of the things I heard months ago on NPR, they actually had a woman who works in the textbook publishing. And she said, by and large, a lot of Southern states don't even include certain information from American history because they don't want to teach it in the schools. Yeah. And it's like, how can you expect an entire section of the country to grow and change and learn and break free from this established culture of racism if you're not teaching about it in school when they're kids?
Yeah, I had when I had a full-time job in mental health, I remember talking to a couple of my clients who were Black, I don't remember how we got on the subject, but we were talking about Black history or something like that, history of, Black people in America or whatever. And I asked them, I said, oh, have y'all uh, learned about civil rights, stuff like that? I was like, oh, yeah, we know about Martin Luther King. I said, what about Malcolm X and the March on Washington? It was like crickets.
Because they don't teach it in school.
I was like, and they were like, what are
Oh,
you talking about? And I was like, you don't know anything about Malcolm X or any? No. And I was like, oh my God, I wanted to pull my hair out because I'm just like, how is that possible? I remember being in their grades and watching what was the name of that series? There was a series they had a long time ago. I think you can find it on PBS where it was like a in your face look at the civil rights movement. It started everything from Emmett Till all the way until until the assassination of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and a bunch of and Medgar Evers. All that stuff was in there. All the stuff that we should know, that we should never forget was in this program. I grew up in the South. I grew up in deep South, Arkansas, in a small town where um where when you called around for a job, because of my voice, that and we're going to cover this the next show, but because of my voice, and I guess I remember calling around for a job as an older teenager, and I remember, oh, somebody telling me you sound like a nice, whatever, because we don't hire, those niggers and everything, and I'm just like,
Yeah, this is we discussed polite voice in our previous show
yeah,
with
and I'm
Ann
just
Shea,
like, yeah,
and how you get told, but you don't sound Black.
yeah,
Like,
and I'm
yeah.
I'm just like, that's the town, that's the town, and I say town because it's like 7,000 people,
Has a post
something like
office
that.
and a
It
light.
has a post
yeah.
office. From what I hear, we had a Walmart and a McDonald's, and all that stuff. So I mean, that's the kind of place I grew up in, So if that place can play those kind of videos and offer you that kind of education in the deep South, granted this was in the 80s. I mean, but still, what is the difference between then and now?
It
You
depends
know,
on who's on the school
Yeah.
board. The
And
school board rules everything. We have a school board right now for our schools that's primarily old white men that have no children in the school system.
I
ugh.
believe it.
It's old conservative white men that have no children in the school system.
Eyes on a
So,
Prize. That was the name of the video collection. Eyes on a Prize. Anybody ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
I'm gonna put a link, everybody, in
we
the
definitely
the
didn't cover
notes and
that in my
stuff.
school that had
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
of maybe
it's
3 Black people total.
oh,
I was just going to
yeah.
say, like, where I went to school, I don't remember us covering anything after World War II.
Mm,
I'm gonna
wow.
Everything I
out-
learned. Now, luckily, my father is very like into civics and
Mhm.
travel and community minded and all that. So I learned things, but it wasn't
Mhm.
from. It
Well,
wasn't in
didn't you
school.
know, Serena? Everything was hunky dory after World War II. What are you talking about?
right.
The
Oh yeah, it was
world.
just
I mean,
apple
the world was
pie.
just a perfect place after that point.
I'm
Yeah.
going to throw out what may be an unpopular opinion, not necessarily with this group, but overall, like I honestly, when I look, I'm one of those like big worldview people, and looking back over the last, we have changed more and faster over the past 100 years
Mhm.
than at any other time in history. And maybe there's some historians out there that could disclaim, but think about where we were in 1900. Think about what technology we had and where we are now. It is immense. And think about the compressed cultural change in our country over the last 121 years. And
Mm.
honestly, I think the last 121 years are more important than the hundreds of years before. Is it important to cover the hundreds from the founding of our country? Absolutely. I think we have to know where we came from, but I think they need to spend as much time on the past 100 years as they did covering the revolution and the Civil War. Because right now we have been in a very silent, low level civil war for decades.
Well, just think of like science. That's my niche. Like,
yeah,
think of all that has been covered, and then the technology, the Industrial Revolution, travel.
Like the things that we know and have proof exist now that we would have considered magical or miraculous 100 years ago. Like it's baffling how fast, and you know, some people would say too fast, but
it is. I mean, you know, with all the advancements in medicine and science and in culture, it's like that's way up here. You know, that I can't raise my arm too high, but
don't do that.
You know, that's way up here, and we're still right here.
Yeah, like emotionally
advanced.
Emotionally, the human race has not advanced as far or as fast as they have intellectually.
And in fact, I would think we've taken a huge step back. I mean, you know, the whole
Trump was
mentality.
Elected. You don't have to tell me that.
Yeah, that whole mentality of, you know, people being scared of minorities taking over, and you know that they're going to be displaced somehow, and you know, and I'm just like, dude, do you not see it's still a white man's world? And when
do you not see that if you're afraid to be treated the way you treat others, you're doing it wrong.
Right? Yeah,
there's a problem.
Red flag.
And see, again, and that's the fear as well. I've seen that, and I've heard that so many times. I've read it in articles that fear is that because minorities have been so persecuted, and not just blacks. You know, you have your
Chinese Americans right now. Asian Americans.
Yes. That somehow the way
indigenous folk,
the majority has treated the minority, they're going to turn around and do it to the minority as they become the majority. And I was like, that's some stinking thinking right there, because not everybody acts that way. And it's kind of fucked up that you assume that that's going to happen. I have no desire to go back and kick every white person in the ass that was racist toward me. I don't even remember. I mean, there's one incident, big incident I remember as a kid. You know, as far as everything else, I mean, you know, whatever. I have no desire to go back and hunt these people down and go like, I'm gonna get back at all these white people I see for what they did. I'm gonna find a word that's just as bad as nigger, which there isn't one, because again, white man's language.
Hundreds of years establishing created a word is a bad word.
Yes,
it's a horrible word.
Yes, it's horrible. Yeah. So, and there's not a word, there's not an equivalent, you know, and as to its horribleness. I mean, you know, in a way. So it's that mentality and that fear that that's going to happen. I see that a lot. I hear that a lot. That, you know, it's just like, oh, you know, I've even heard before, you know, oh, we used to, you know, slave owners rape the black women, the slaves and everything. They're going to turn around and do it to us.
And nobody owns slaves right now. Like,
according to their mentality, there will be. It'll be this complete reversal.
Do you know what that means? It's when people think that way. Do you know what that means? That means that they think still minority, Black and Indigenous people of color, they still think those people are nothing more than animals. Mm-hmm. And that should tell you a lot about the people that say this, that are concerned about this. It means you are racist and you have a preconceived notion that everybody else is less than you and would do horrible things if they have more power.
Exactly. And I keep saying it's not pie. It's just not. It's not pie.
I like pie.
I love pie too. I love pie too. And
I took a pie out of the freezer tonight. I didn't make it or anything. Let's not get
what
crazy.
kind of pie is it?
It's from Grand Traverse Pie Company. I think it's blueberry peach, but I don't know.
I have a tattoo of pie.
Shake.
Do you really?
Yeah, the symbol though, not.
Oh, well, yeah, I know. I figured it was a symbol, Serena, not a pie.
You lied. There was nothing in there. She said there was a little bit left. Ooh, thank you.
Oh my gosh.
What are you oh my godding for?
Because you're just so selfish.
Would you like some of this? I got
Oh,
yelled
it's
at
too
for not
late
letting you have
now.
the other half.
It's
It's
too
not
late.
too late. She would totally drink
The
it.
ship has sailed.
Do you want it? I drank like a whole one. No. Here.
Oh God.
I'm just gonna
Okay.
have my
I'm probably
water,
good. That's
my
a lot of
delicious,
sugar.
I
my
got
delicious water.
I got a little lemon in my water, you know. So
All right. Are you happy, Katie? I gave her the rest.
I feel a little better, yes.
Whatever.
So I mean, it's just it just goes beyond me. I mean, you know, just the thinking, the mentality, the conspiracy theory. It is just like I'm just like
Yeah. And circling back to cancel culture, I think what cancel culture is it's a way of rebalancing. It is enough people seeing and understanding proof of bad behavior and holding those people accountable for that bad behavior. And I agree that, you know, there can be instances of cancel culture that maybe go beyond, what is deserved for whatever perceived infraction. However, by and large, a lot of these instances of cancel culture are on people that have done really horrible things, because honestly, you can't piss off that many people to create a successful cancel culture if you didn't do something really bad.
It's like,
otherwise it's just going to be like 10 people are like, I hate that guy. They ate peanuts with the shells on and he's a weirdo. He took our job, right? But you know, and that's like, you know, that's 100 disgruntled people. But when you have somebody that had an effect that instigated a bad enough, of large enough cancel culture for things that they did, you know, they're probably just a big asshole. Like they just did something really bad.
Yeah, and I have no problem canceling assholes.
Yeah, like what's his name? Army Hammer.
Stamp, just like with like a little asshole outline, like a pucker.
It's like the Scarlet Letter.
Oh,
the
Army
Hammer is another one.
Army Hammer. It's
Army
like, you know, if you're a
one.
cannibal and you know, and like kidnap women and, you know, hold them captive. I mean, you know,
if you're really famous, if you're famous for something and you send people really sketchy text messages, expect them to get sold and or just released.
It's like, you know, I almost think that's a man thing. I mean, because has there been women who have done stupid shit, famous women who've done? Yes.
I don't know.
That's true. What's her name? John Legend's wife, who sent that message. Yeah, Chrissy Teigen, who sent those messages to tell some influencer to kill herself or something like that. Yeah, and so there
I think she just recently got canceled for like her cooking line and stuff.
Yeah, and she's lost quite a few sponsors, and she should.
I agree. And it's interesting because she's one of those people that, like, I followed some of her stuff and I like some of the inspirational stuff. Like, she's had some very real shit to say, and I admire that. But I can also look back and say, you know what, you weren't so great before. Maybe you're learning. I don't know, but until then, you're in a timeout.
Yeah, like, it's a good way of putting it. It's a timeout.
You're in a timeout. You know what? You have to earn people's trust back once they found out you did something bad. You have to earn that trust back.
Yeah. And Joss Whedon. Who knew he was such a douche?
Hasn't that always been around though in the interwebs that he's been a douche and terrible to his people?
Underpinning the first my spidey sense went up when getting serious. My spidey sense went up when Charisma Carpenter was so white.
From when she came out, that was Buffy, right? That was a Buffy thing.
Well, she was on Angel at the time. She was pregnant.
Yeah.
character was like
Just-
completely wiped out.
Just gone.
And then
it made
around the
no
same
sense.
time,
Yeah.
like just Tara was killed and
Okay.
all these other people, like it was just like, what is the, why can't
Looking back.
why can't women be happy? Like,
Can I
Look,
confide that I've
What?
never seen Buffy or any of those shows?
what?
I don't know
Oh,
when was Buffy on?
I think
It
I-
first
I think
I
aired-
spent about 10 years not watching TV at all. So
you
when was
just
Buffy on?
really hurt me. That
Yeah.
just really hurt. Buffy
Was
is
it
on
on during that-
Netflix. It's on Netflix. You can watch it.
Is it on Netflix?
I think it's on Netflix, right?
I have to do some quick math. I believe it came out, March 1997,
Mm-hmm.
because the cast graduates Sunnydale in 1999, and I graduated in 1998. So I'm 1 year older than the cast of Buffy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then
So Buffy wasn't on our stations. It wasn't.
Whatever.
I only saw one partial episode of Xena, and it was on like late at night when I was with my
Ooh.
ex.
This,
and that
but
was it.
Xena only came on late at night for a long time.
And
it was
so-
relegated to some late night.
And so I
type
saw
thing.
that. I saw that with my ex, and that was before like I was just coming out to myself, and we were going to split up. And at that time was like around 2000, and we split up. And then I didn't watch TV for like 10 years. Like I didn't
Well,
have
you
a
missed
TV. I
a
didn't have
lot.
anything. But I
You
did
missed-
eventually go on because the reason why it came out is because I discovered Cena fan fiction online. And I started reading
Me
stories,
too.
and then the stories had girls and girls, and I was like, it's like huge. It was like the biggest cartoon light bulb went on over my head one night when I was reading, and I was like, I think I'm gay.
Kelly, are you
Like,
kidding? I had the
nope.
same epiphany.
No
I had
clue.
the
I had
exact
no
same
clue
epiphany.
until then. I didn't know.
Yep.
I didn't know that all the people I played like half my softball team was gay. My ex, he knew. He's like,
Mm.
you don't remember? We went to that party and they're like, where are all the lesbians? They're like, they're in the basement. And I'm like, nope. He's like, you were right next to me when we walked in and they said that. And I'm like, oh. And then the one, he's like, yeah, I remember because I would talk to him still after we broke up because I kind of came out to him and everything. And I remember I started going to the bar an hour south, like big city, Grand Rapids. And I said, you
Big
wouldn't believe
city.
who I saw there. And it was one of the girls from my old softball team. And he's like, yeah, she was dating Heather. You didn't know that? I'm like, I thought they were roommates. Like,
Oh my
no
God.
shit. And he's like, yeah, there's the other sister, Heather's other sister. All three of those sisters were gay. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I had zero.
So naive.
I had no
Oh,
idea.
Baby Kelly, baby Kelly.
But yeah,
But-
I did eventually, because I kind of came into the fandom like that, and that's how I came out. And I did eventually
Yes.
go on, and I bought all 6 seasons on
Of
DVD
Xena.
of Xena. So
I
I've
still
seen
have-
them
I
all
have 'em, yeah.
so many times because when I
Mhm.
did my full length Xena fan fiction, like original fic, right? But it was like post finale, post friend in need.
Post head cut off. Yeah.
Yes, it was
Mhm.
post head cut off. Thanks for spoiling it for everybody.
Post kiss.
So, but I wrote that, and that was actually the very first thing of length that I ever wrote. And that's what kicked it off back in 2015. I wrote this like 68,000 word Xena fanfic. And I was actually watching, I would go back and watch certain DVDs just so I got details right about their past.
Nice.
Because that's how I roll.
You're
But-
making me want to watch Xena. But we're talking about Buffy.
But yes,
So
so anyway,
Serena-
I
Halloween.
stopped watching TV for like a decade, and I don't even know where they went. We only got like 3 stations where I lived, and one of them was fuzzy. So, and then I stopped watching TV for a decade, and then I lived with my other ex, and we had satellite, but I honestly don't think I know how to use it. And I still really wasn't watching a lot of TV then, and it wasn't like she would have ever watched Buffy. So.
But I think when
Well-
you go back, Serena, to you're talking about what happened to Tara. To me, that was like a huge red flag, because it was just like, why? I was just sitting there like, why would he kill her? It made no sense. I mean, and it was just like, and I remember seeing the commercials for it, the preview for it, and do you remember how it was like, it's not what you think, or you remember it saying stuff
Oh,
like
I
that?
remember.
Do you remember that?
Because I was really like, that really hit me. like
it was hard. Yeah.
And
I was like,
and then like interviews were like, well, it was the only way to get the plot, you know, where we wanted it to go. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. So I think that there was
it was kill the lesbian, make the other lesbian go crazy. I mean, you know, so.
Oh, was she gay on the show? Was she gay on
Willow,
the show?
Willow.
No,
Yeah,
the other. Who's the one that got killed off because she was pregnant?
That's Charisma Carpenter.
Right. Who did she play?
She played Cordelia.
I don't know who that is.
Well,
I've heard of Willow.
The show.
Willow was Buffy's friend who was gay, right?
Yes.
I've heard of
Willow. Or bisexual.
Kind
of like back and forth in the canon.
Yeah, I think she's bisexual. Yeah, I would categorize her as bisexual if we have to give labels. Because there's Oz. I love me some Oz. Oz was the coolest.
That was a great character.
Yes, love me some Seth Green. Anyway. Anyway,
we're talking about Joss Whedon.
But yeah, that was my first inkling that there may be something going on there. And then there was the whole Buffy Spike thing and the whole
very violent
consent. I mean, he kind of skirt the line between consensual with them. I mean, you know, and it was just like.
Yeah, and then the Ray Fisher stuff, and I was just like, Joss Whedon's apparently just an asshole.
Yeah, just an asshole.
Like she was saying with J.K. Rowling, it's like one of those things where all of this storyline that I just adore and got me through and made me realize, you know, things about my sexuality, and it's like that holds like a special place in my heart. But at the same time, it's like I have to acknowledge the fact that those storylines and those character trajectories came from the mind of someone who was proud to be a feminist. Oh, he's a great feminist creator, but like at the heart of it, did some deeply misogynist and racist things.
And it's just like, dude, like what? And you know, and you've noticed that he hasn't said a blip. He hasn't said a word. To me, I feel like he's underground and is in hiding. And I'm just like just don't ever show your face again. I mean, because it's just like, how can you ever make up for that? I mean, you know, to think you're that big and beyond that you can mistreat that many people and that no one would not say anything.
Right.
You know, and still.
Maybe we need a new word for this instead of like cancel culture. Just give it like a catchphrase, like Cuomo culture or something, where you think you're powerful enough and popular enough that you can get away with whatever you want.
Anything. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
We'll just call it white man culture.
Oh,
the WMC.
Right. Yeah.
I WMC. Like that. I like that.
You know, we just found out, you know, Cuomo is part of the WMC. We're like, what's the WMC? It's white man culture. Right.
Or you can say white man culture club. You see what I did there?
I see it. I'm trying not to, but I see it. So yeah, I don't know. I think we should run with that. I think we should run with the WMC.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of members.
A lot of members.
And it's kind of like the WMC started up the whole WMDs. So.
Yeah. There you go. That's true. True story. So I mean, and we could go on and on about it because there's just so much crap. And I think with the pandemic, I think with people have had the time to scrutinize and really look, you know, like they haven't before. And, you know, we see a lot of things more than we had, you know, 2 years ago, because, you know, like, and what they did to, what was it? Warner Brothers who did that stuff to Ray Fisher? Who fired him and all that?
I think Warner Brothers was the whole. Yeah, I think they were the ones on DCU.
Everything he said was true. I mean, you know, so it wasn't like he was lying and they fired the dude. I mean, you know, so I'm just like, and coming off from seeing the bloated extended version of.
Oh my God! Did you watch the Snyder Cut?
I did.
So did I.
I did like Ray Fisher a lot more. He did really well.
He had a storyline.
He was the highlight of that movie.
If you have half a day's worth of movie, you can tell about as much backstory as you want.
Yes.
I haven't seen either one.
It was bloated. It was self-indulgent. It was like, it went for me. It went from an F to maybe a D plus. That's it. I mean, it still wasn't all that, but it was just like, oh my God, what? I mean, anyway, but still, what they did to him, you know, kudos to him for stepping out and doing that. I mean, to me, everybody else waited too late. When Ray Fisher first said, Josh Whedon is a dick, he did this to me. The people who knew should have come forward. They
They
should
should
have,
have.
yeah, they should have. I mean, all this, well, yeah, a year later, yeah, he was kind of right. I'm like, bitch, where were you a year ago? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not talking about Charisma Carpenter. I'm not talking, I'm just saying in
Do you
general.
wonder if some of the issue here too is when you have somebody that has so much power, they essentially can make or break you in your career.
Absolutely. I mean, look at what happened with Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein is a great example.
That's what I'm saying. That was before. If we talk about progression and people being more scrutinized and everything, I don't think that so much happens as much now, because if you make a big enough stink, people are going to like, okay, maybe we need to look into this. It may be a token, okay, let's look into this, but
Right.
eventually things will start. Yeah, things will come out of the woodwork. I mean, so
there have been other instances that are not as that I've been seeing a lot of this kind of thing, a lot of this kind of cancel culture pop up like across all areas. And a lot of it makes me happy, to be honest. But like, one of the items that were on our list, they had a Miami Heat player who you've been seeing this a lot more. These guys, what was it, NASCAR, where there was somebody driving, NASCAR on the games, like everything's not in person before last year it wasn't. So they're like on a Twitch stream, like live stream, and they'll say like racist slurs. So that was a Miami Heat, like a couple months ago, Miami Heat player was benched indefinitely after he used an offensive term on a live Twitch stream. And it's like, good. Like, I don't know about you, but this person gets paid a lot of money. They sign a contract. That contract has like morality clauses, which can be good or bad. But essentially, you are a public figure. You're a public face for this brand. Don't be an asshole. Yeah. And bottom line, he was an asshole and he got benched indefinitely. He's probably still getting paid, which is fucking bullshit. But anyway, but you want to know what made me even happier? Is the Disney guy, Katie.
Oh, yeah.
Disney guy. Did you know the Disney guy? The guy spent $15,000 on a Disney World trip, and he got arrested for refusing a temperature check before he went in.
Oh, this is not the Disney story I thought you were gonna.
What's the Disney story are you referring to?
That there was a guy who went off the rails like a couple weeks ago because Disneyland would become too PC or something like that.
Oh no, this is not that one. This is like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. This Baton Rouge, Louisiana guy. I know, shocking. Sorry, Katie. Shocking that it's from way down south.
I'm not a Navy. I'm not a Navy.
Skipped a mandatory temperature check at Disney World. Ended up in jail in a recent trip to the theme park. He says he paid $15,000 for the 5-day vacation planned for him and his family, and ended up the first day in handcuffs. I'm sorry, but karma what? It was supposed to be a luxurious vacation for him and his family. And he lashed out at security personnel who approached him over the refused temperature check. And he trespassed. Essentially, he trespassed because you're not supposed to come in without it. And he was confronted at the Boathouse restaurant after refusing to have his temperature taken, or he was asked to either have it taken or leave. And he told a different story than the one told by Disney representatives. He said that he claimed he'd simply entered the building through an exit and hadn't intentionally skipped the safety check.
Sure.
And then he told the Post he would have happily submitted to the temperature check and laid the blame on the incident for escalating at the feet of Disney security personnel.
Of course. It's
I
always
mean,
somebody else's fault.
How many of you believed that he snuck in through an exit on accident and avoided this temperature check?
He probably sent the rest of his family through the front. And
honestly, had he just said, "Oh, okay, check my temperature," they would have done it and it would have been fine. But he clearly continued to refuse.
Mask. So, I group him.
Which makes me think he had his temperature too.
So there's actually body cam footage from the officers who asked Sills to leave and eventually arrested him. And it said Twitter users were not at all impressed by his antics. And somebody, I can share my screen and show you that. So one Twitter user said, all this ignorant clown had to do was have his temperature checked. Unfucking believable. He spent $15,000 on a Disney World trip. He refused a temperature check and got arrested. And it's like, yeah, because that's just ignorant.
It's like you have one job. Oh, I didn't know there was actual video.
Oh yeah, it's a show.
It's a show.
Oh, and I like the title. Axon Food.
All right, ready?
Being asked to leave the premises by Chris, who is a security manager at Disney Springs. Listen to me, sir. Sir, they are asking you to leave. We are going to escort you out now, sir. You are officially being trespassed. Okay, so where are you refusing to leave, or are you going? Sir,
I spent $15,000.
Come here. 2, start walking, sir.
You're telling me I spent 15 grand?
Put your hands behind your back, sir.
Yeah, so he refused to leave
after being told to do so. Get your hands off.
I like that he is wearing a mask.
But we got an echo here, Kelly.
That's it. All you would have to do is go get temperature.
Yeah.
You refuse to leave after being told to do so by Disney.
Sir, you understand, man.
But
this guy doesn't have no evidence.
Listen.
He's trying to kick me out, man. You know how long
Are you going to shut up and listen?
Yes, sir. I'll listen.
Please. Here's the deal. You refuse to leave after being told that you were trespassed. That means that you go to jail.
I paid $15,000. You can't trespass and pay $15,000.
So to me, Katie, can you tell me what that is a prime example of?
White privilege.
There you go.
Oh, look, I got a nice echo.
He's not beaten. He's not bloody. He's not bruised. He certainly is still alive. He hasn't been choked. He's not shot. And he tried to throw you can't trespass me. I spent $15,000.
Yeah.
It's always this is the when I see things like this, or when I hear things like this, I always say, if it had been a Black person or a Hispanic person or whatever, the whole thing would have been much different.
Arguing with the cop.
Yep.
But I think he got what he deserved. I mean, it's just like, I make a lot of money. I spent all this money. You don't have any right to tell me I can't do this. Blah 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 blah. So it's bullshit.
And I'm actually shocked too that he wore a mask.
He probably was sick, and that's why he refused a temperature check.
And I was thinking,
I think that could have been the whole thing too.
Because he didn't look that healthy. He was real sweaty, and he had dark circles under his eyes. But that was the first thing I noticed. So
I saw that.
Speaking of $15,000, I can tell you right now. Yep, Katie, segue. I can tell you right now that this list of the 7 grossest foods that people actually eat, I would not eat for $15,000.
Yeah, me either.
Are you ready for the what the fuck news portion of this podcast?
I am very excited.
We picked something we thought you would enjoy and go along with. So.
All right. So the WTF news, 7 grossest foods that people actually eat. And it says, feeling hungry? Don't worry, you won't be for long. So a while back, apparently they wrote about the new internet fad of eating rotten meat to get high. Well, this is only a fad. At least we hope so. People do actually eat some pretty gross things.
Whatever just happened to licking frogs to get high?
I don't know.
I know, right?
Or stamps, right? All right. Number 1, Rocky Mountain oysters. And for people not in the US, they probably don't know what that is. Some people in the US may not know what that is. So
True.
Rocky Mountain oysters is misleading. It doesn't contain any seafood. The main ingredient is bull testicles. Testicles are skinned and pounded flat. And if there are any males listening to this, they may have just crossed their legs. The testicles are skinned and pounded flat. They get a nice cap coating of flour, salt, and pepper before being deep fried and served. Young bulls are often castrated for veterinary reasons, so Rocky Mountain oysters probably came around when someone wondered whether the surplus of severed balls was edible. Today,
well, they say it's better fried.
Maybe down south, Katie, maybe down south, but I'm going to disagree with that.
Oh, those balls came from down south.
Echo, turn it back down.
Sorry, I got excited again. All right, how's that now? Good?
So that doesn't bug me.
I know why. Okay, there we go. No more echo.
Okay, there we go. Perfect.
It was because I was still sharing my sound, so I was picking up something else. Yeah. All right, so it said several towns in the U.S. hold testicle festivals, and say that 10 times fast. Say it 4 times fast.
Testicle festival.
Keep going. Testicle festival. Oh, that's hard. Okay. And now I'm wondering how many people would be listening to this at work being testicle festival. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have that report for you. So anyway.
I wanted to throw some hot sauce on them too.
You know what? If it's down south, they probably do.
Maybe some gravy.
Where they originated.
Get some gravy on your fried balls.
Yeah, there you go.
I have to say, I'm surprised this made the list. This doesn't seem that out there. I've never
compared to the other stuff, it's not that out there.
It's not. I mean, because this is something that's been talked about for years. So, I mean, it's not anything new. Like some of the other stuff that's on here, I have never heard of.
Like the next one, which I don't know how it's pronounced because I don't speak Icelandic. Hakaro.
Why don't we have Bjork on this podcast to tell us?
You know, why don't we?
Get Bjork.
Hey, Carl. Hey, Carl.
Hey, Carl.
Hey, Carl. It's the national dish of Iceland. And can I just say, this is the worst fucking national dish ever. It's Greenland shark that's been left to rot in the ground for several months. And as I explained to Katie, if you have to work this hard to make something edible, you shouldn't be eating it. So it has so much urea in it that it's actually poisonous. However, the Icelandic people came up with an ingenious way of making the shark edible, which I disagree that it's edible. They gut and behead it before burying it in a shallow grave. After fermenting for 4 months, the shark is cut up, hung to dry for a few months more before being ready to serve. It's described as one of the most disgusting foods on the planet. Many famous chefs, including Gordon Ramsay and Anthony Bourdain, have barely taken a bite of it before spitting it out and refusing to ever touch it again. And I'm sorry, but you know what? If you grab a cow flop out of the field and serve it onto a plate and call that your national fucking food, I'm still not going to eat it because it's disgusting.
Even if it's fried and with hot sauce?
Especially if it's fried with hot sauce.
There was a show, I don't know if it's on anymore, it was hosted by Andrew Zimmern, I think. And it was
I know what you're talking about.
It was kind of a travel show like Anthony Bourdain had.
I know what it was.
He went to Iceland and they showed him how this was made, and it was in a shed. And he was like, you could see him, like his gag reflex was starting when he was several dozen feet away, and he's like, the flies are coming.
God. And, I'm getting nauseated just eating rotten shark. On National Geographic.
So apparently National Geographic. I'm not gonna play that. We're gonna just move on because that's disgusting. All right, moving on. Number 3 is, I don't know how to pronounce this. Again, it's Balut, Balut, like the bear. No,
Bare necessities.
Yeah.
it's just the bare necessities. All right. So in Asia, in the Philippines, we have balut, fertilized duck eggs with a partially developed embryo inside, which you could get if you go get farm fresh eggs from the Amish. It happens.
Yep.
That was one of my most disgusting things that I've witnessed. Was I was staying with my cousin and her husband and their kids, and she was making this huge pan of like scrambled eggs, and she's just cracking them into the pan as she went, and she got about a dozen eggs in, and then I just hear her start swearing, and I'm like, what's going on? And I look in the pan, and it's this bloody like fetus, like essentially she got a fertilized one, and it ruined the whole rest of the pan, so she had to scrape it all out and start again. And that's disgusting.
Yeah.
But anyways, the eggs are allowed to incubate 14 to 21 days before collecting. Then they're boiled or steamed before being served, usually with some kind of sauce fitting to local tastes. Depending on how long the egg is incubated, the embryo inside may resemble a baby duck. In some eggs, they have already developed bones, which will be firm but tender after cooking. Balut connoisseurs usually eat contents of the eggs straight out of the shell. For all the grossness, they're actually more nutritious than regular chicken eggs. Must be all the baby duck.
I'll get my nutrition somewhere else. Thank you.
Yeah, right. All right.
No, I'm gonna pass.
So far, are any of these on the list that you would try, Serena?
I would try them. Even though I do identify as lesbian, I would try the Rocky Mountain oysters.
I think of everything on this list. That's the only thing I would try.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. That's probably the least scariest thing. Yeah.
Number 4 is milt. In certain areas, milt is a local delicacy. It's basically fish sperm. So female produce roe, which is caviar, and male fish fertilize that roe with milt, their sperm. So the word can also refer to the sperm sacs of the male fish. Milt is pretty popular. It's consumed everywhere from Japan and Korea to Russia, the Nordic countries, and the UK. People either eat milt fried or raw. I do not want fried or raw fish sperm.
You know what? When I hear stuff like
any
this,
sperm. I don't have to eat that anymore. I don't want
okay. But when I hear about stuff like this, you know what makes me think? It makes me think of rich people who have run out of things to do. So they came up with the weirdest, grossest shit because they can. And they just said, I'm going to make a fad of it. I'm going to start the whole thing, and watch people follow. And I think that's just what happened.
I'm going to throw out this alternate theory, which is every country has their version of a Budweiser swilling redneck that says, wonder if we could eat that. And then they do.
And part of me thinks, if you have your fish and they're like, I'm starving. We ate these.
I wonder if we could eat that. Yeah.
I wonder if we can eat this. Hey, eat this.
You're going the good route.
See, I wouldn't even eat caviar. That doesn't even sound.
So Katie is like, you know what? This is the result of rich assholes with too much time in their hands, not enough money. And I'm like, this is the result of ignorant assholes who are just like,
or maybe it's just a combination.
And Serena's like, maybe people just don't have any food and they're starving and that's why they're eating it. I'm like, look at you holding people to such high regard.
So idealistic.
I know, right?
Can we put milt on our Rocky Mountain oysters?
Oh no.
Is that like surf and turf?
Maybe this should be like just one big gross sandwich with some of that the hacaro and all right, next one, number 5, century eggs. I've heard of century eggs. I have seen somebody cook them or make them, I guess. Chicken, duck, or quail eggs. They're placed in a mixture of clay ash, salt, quicklime, and rice hulls. After curing for a few months in this special sauce, the eggs come out looking pretty funky. The egg yolk will turn to a greenish gray mass, while the whites become brown, translucent jelly. They have an intense, salty flavor thanks to the final pH of around 9 or 12. So
Ooh.
despite the appearance and strange preparation methods, century eggs are safe to eat. They're usually consumed as hors d'oeuvres straight out of the shell. And so the stuff, and when I saw a video of like how they were made, and there are entire industries where like in Asia, there's a business where they have all these pots lined up and they're doing all of these century eggs and then they sell them. And the woman who's talking about it said like their century eggs come out like a golden yellow rather than like a brown. It was an interesting fun fact, but it has something to do with like the clay ash, quick salt and quicklime. It creates like a chemical reaction that actually heats it up. So it's like a really slow bake for the amount of time they stay in. It's not actually 100 years, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
you should.
I'm kind of caught
there's some
by
good videos.
I'm kind of caught by warthog.
Okay, number 6, warthog anus, and honestly, this one should be next to the Rocky Mountain oysters. But
yes, it should.
So, if you're visiting Namibian Bushmen, you might be invited to try some freshly cooked warthog anus.
Freshly cooked.
I mean, like you're not going to get very much of that. It's like 1 anus per hog, right?
Well, I mean,
anyway.
What do? You chop off the legs? And
is it also some of the rectum?
So, to prepare the dish, warthog is slaughtered. After gutting it, the butcher pulls out the anus.
And the
last 1 foot of the intestine. The feces are squeezed out, and the intestine is thrown into a fire pit. Never mind the ashes and dirt; they're supposed to get in there.
Oh, of course.
It's important not to cook the intestine too long. It should be served al dente, like the finest spaghetti. After all, who doesn't want to have some bite to their warthog anus? Not Anthony Bourdain. He put his dish on the same would not eat list as Carl. But it says squeezed out.
Right. And not washed.
It doesn't out.
Yeah.
I don't know. When there's probably still poop in there.
I have issue with the fact that it's not rinsed.
I don't want anus or intestines.
Yes. I mean, is it chewy? Is it gummy?
It's al dente. My guess is it's a little chewy, like slightly uncooked penne pasta, which I also don't like. Penne pasta to me is the warthog anus of pasta.
That's a strong position to take on pasta.
That's a very strong position to take. It is. It is very sad.
But I really don't like the one that's like penne but has grooves. What's that one called? It looks just like penne, but it has grooves.
I have no idea.
Penne? I don't know.
What's the difference?
I don't understand angel hair. That's where I stand on pasta.
I love angel hair pasta.
I don't see the point to angel hair.
What's the difference between ravioli and penne?
All right, here we go. Penne are
tube shaped,
resemble a quill or pen point. Unlike penne, which are ridged, mascaccioli are smooth in texture. Yeah. See, I don't like penne because I don't like either one, but I especially don't like the one that has the ridges all the way around it, like ruffles, but without the good flavor. It's just too much chewy pasta. It disturbs my pasta sauce ratio. Anyway, moving on. Warthog anus.
Really thought about this.
No list.
Warthog
anus. Oh boy, the best for last. I don't think we actually scrolled down this far when we looked at this earlier, Katie. Casa Mortzu.
Sardinian fermented.
It's Sardinian
cheese.
Yeah, fermented sheep's milk cheese. We're using the word fermented liberally because the cheese enters a state of decomposition.
Oh,
which
oh my God! I see the word maggots.
Yeah, I caught the maggots too.
Yeah, I've actually seen this one before, where there are cheese. Because the internet is an amazing thing where the maggots like eat the cheese. Okay, so an integral part of the cheese is the maggots. That's right. Kazu Marzu. Yeah, this is the one I've watched made before. It's disgusting, but interesting. It's infested with fly larvae that you're supposed to eat with it. Upon consumption, the maggots might try to leap out of the cheese. Better guard your eyes. And you want the maggots alive because if they're dead, Sardinians will tell you that the cheese is no longer edible. Yeah,
you see that look she has right there? That look right there? Yeah.
On the far right?
Yeah, that fits me right about now. That look right there.
So why couldn't you just like take your kazu marzu like on a cracker and then like put it in the toaster oven or something and bake the maggots and melt the cheese?
I don't know. But it says
I don't understand
so
why there has to be maggots on it. I just
they made it illegal.
Thank you. Whoever did that, thank you. That's some good governing right there.
That's how a bill becomes a law. Right there.
So
you can see the little bill saying, I'm just a
market.
bill. Yes, I'm only a bill.
Despite the ban, there's a burgeoning black market for kazumarzu in Sardinia. No pesky law can stop Sardinians from enjoying their rotten-infested cheese.
Yeah, because that's what you do. You eat maggots and do Netflix and chill.
The latest Ben and Jerry, like riff on that.
Oh God.
Oh. I'm surprised. Like I hear a lot about durian.
Who?
I think it's a fruit, durian.
Never heard of
it.
It
is a fruit, yes.
Yeah, and it's so pungent
mm-hmm.
that you're not allowed to like bring it into certain like public buildings. I think it's sold around like Thailand.
Well, I'm back. Is everybody else back? What happened?
I'm here. I don't know. Somebody's internet was sketchy. I got booted out and then it brought me back in.
Yeah, I got Serena. What happened to Serena?
Maybe it's Serena. She had a thunderstorm.
Yeah, she's got.
But it seems like it's you if you're hosting.
There she is. There she is. Are you back? I see her.
Everybody's frozen for me.
Really? Everybody's. Can you hear me?
It's breaking up a little bit.
Okay. I don't know what's going on.
It's better now.
Okay, now I can hear you pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Kelly? What?
Is she saying something?
It looked like she was saying something, but she was on
I was
mute
saying
too.
something, but not to you guys.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm getting jumpy. I'm getting jumpy video from both of you and freezing because I think my my internet's being stupid again.
Oh, joy. So sorry, everybody, with technical difficulties. This has been an exciting.
I blame the racists and Howell.
Yes. They heard us discussing, and this is our punishment. There you go. This is our punishment.
Right. They're like, this is what you get.
Came in their sheets to fuck with the bandwidth.
There you go.
I mean, it would do it. Now, KD, before we make sure you're in our topic document, I think we covered everything.
We did. Do
you feel sufficiently covered, Serena?
I mean, I feel like a large blanket of information and discussion I'm just enrobed in it. I feel very well covered.
And not just a little bit of disgust.
Nah, not any more than I did when I wake up,
It was better than having your mouth on fire, right?
Yeah, I didn't have to put my tongue in ranch dressing this time.
Man, I don't even want to talk about that nasty sauce we had, Katie, because that's just the worst. I feel like everybody else got off lucky.
Serena had a really hot sauce. I think you had the habanero sauce. That one was really hot.
Yeah, it was like 100% panic or something.
Yeah, 100% pain. That's what it was. Yeah,
100% pain.
This one was pain, and it tasted like feet.
Well, at least
it was the hottest thing.
Serena, the salsa we did it was hot, but it was actually pretty tasty too, if I remember correctly.
Whatever.
Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah, I don't remember it. Yeah, tasting. And I have the bottle upstairs.
I'm sure you still.
Yeah, it tasted. Yeah, the taste was
It
fine.
was
Yeah,
good
but
taste,
definitely hot.
but it was
Definitely
definitely
We had
hot.
hot
two
too,
hot
yeah.
sauce eaters in the house, and we threw that bottle away because Carrie's like, nope.
I'm gonna have to get
Her
that
and Lincoln
sauce you
both
guys
love
were
hot
talking
sauce,
about. Yeah.
and it was awful. You had it. It was terrible.
Yes. Yes.
I think with all of the one of my favorite inventions over the last 100 years, and this is going to sound really weird because it gets so maligned, is honestly the internet. Because I was one of those people that grew up wanting to know everything. I would write down questions to look
I
up
can see
later.
that about you. Yes,
I would write down stuff that I wanted to know. When I'd read books, if it mentioned something in the book or if it had a word, I would go look it up later because I wanted to know what it was. I didn't like not knowing. If I came across a word I didn't know, I would go look it up in the dictionary. And even now, if I'm reading and I come across something like scientific or something else, and I've never heard of it, I'll go look it up. And it is my gateway to constant information because I always want to know. I want to know how things work. Oh my God, howthingswork.com. Such a great site. I always want to know the ways. And I think that one of the things, and besides that, people, complain, I hate Facebook, I hate the internet, I hate this, I hate that. You know what? I wouldn't be able to talk to half the people I do. I wouldn't have met all the people that I've met, that I would have never met in my life. And I've met amazing people, but I met them because of the internet. We are so far flung and spread out, and you have this ability to reach out and make connections with people, amazing people you would have never made connections with before.
True.
And I think that is the boon. And I think the greatest thing about the internet is also one of the worst things about the internet. It's a double-edged sword. It is, on one hand, you have this ability to transfer truth and information that you never had even 40 years ago. But it's a double-edged sword because you have this ability to transfer falsehood and fear that you never had on this massive scale.
Yes. I agree. And we've
and
seen
you
plenty
also
of
have the
examples of
internet's
that.
going out, like with maybe Serena's instance. I think the storm is catching up with her. It's either that or she abruptly fell asleep on the screen. So
Abruptly fell asleep.
Oh man. It might have been her that we had some technical difficulties with. It's hard to say.
Hilarious. Oh, that is because it's just her eyes are just closed. Everybody, you have got to see this video. I mean, I'm not gonna cut out everything because some of the entertainment value of it is just too high. Just too high. So definitely.
But not high like you've been eating rotted shark in Iceland.
No. I don't understand why, with so many ways to get high, I don't understand why eating gross food would be like one of the things.
I would eat rocks before I would eat rotted shark. I don't care how hungry I am. I'm gonna go out, and maybe club a few baby seals. I'm just kidding.
My God.
I don't even know if they have seals, but
they're gonna cancel you,
I know. And you know what? I should if I actually went out and clubbed baby seals, but I would never do that. But come on, rotted shark that you buried in the ground for 4 months. That's not long enough. Then you have to cut it up and dry it out for 2 more months. Only then is it edible. And I would argue that it's never been edible and never should be edible.
No. So everybody who's listening and watching, we lost Serena. She was experiencing a thunderstorm when we first started recording. So maybe they had something to do with it. But as always, she has been a great guest. And I hope she doesn't pop back on as we're about to end, because that would be even more hilarious.
I know. I keep waiting to see if she comes back on, but she hasn't so far.
Yeah. And
you can always cut some of this out.
Oh no. We'll see. I have to listen to it and watch it and see how it plays.
I just had a cat finally join me.
I saw, yeah.
Like you,
baby. That look.
She likes coming in when I'm talking to people.
You are below me, human.
She just likes she likes to be in the center of attention. And a lot of times if I'm on a Zoom, she will sit, the printer, there it is. She will sit on the printer back there like a little sentinel and just watch, because she knows she's within view. She's kind of creepy like that.
Cats are creepy by nature.
She is especially, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm getting a message from Serena. Let's see what she says. Everybody, she said her internet
should
stalled.
come back. She should come back just to say goodbye.
Okay. So yeah, this has been there she is. Oh, we get her name anyway.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. We were talking about you while you were gone.
None of it good, don't worry.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It'll be interesting. Trust me. It'll be interesting. Trust me.
I was like, do I get on chat? Do I get on Twitter? What if I can't get back in?
Well, we were just getting ready to sign off, but we wanted to make sure you were here so that we could sign off. Do you have any books coming out or books that just came out recently? Because, by all means.
Plug away?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like I have them here handy at all.
But she had her mug. She had her, her product placement.
I have my dream. Oh, this is good. This is a good segue. So Leveled is out. My little rom-com between two professors, inspired by my time working in higher education. Yeah. Book smart, life dumb people. What can I say?
Oh man.
And then this summer I have my short story bundle coming out, which will sort of put a few little stories in between Dreams, which came out about 2 years ago, and then Miracles, which will be coming out this fall. So there's a little bit of a 3-year jump. So I wrote 3 short stories to sort of bridge that
gap.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm very excited. Very excited about Miracles.
Katie will probably put links to your
everything.
website or Amazon or whatever. Everything. You're everything. Hopefully nobody digs into your past and cancels you. But
yeah.
You know what? And if I did do something stupid or disparaging, I'll own up to it. Go quietly away. Try to
treat it as a learning moment.
Earn the trust back. There you go.
All right, Katie.
I'm ready.
Are
Are
you
you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Go ahead.
You know what? We came.
We talked.
We conquered.
Now we gotta go. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again.